Hey, it's Steph. Thanks for watching today's video. This is my first update for the Pan Those Eyeshadows project pan. I will link the creator of this project in the description box below. Her name is Alexi, so please check her out. This is the first video that I am recording with my new camera, so please give me any feedback down below. I'm not really sure how the audio sounds right now until I edit it, so if you have any tips or constructive criticism, I welcome that in the comments. But let's get into the update. I want to start off by updating you on my usage of my Focus palette. This is That's Taupe by ColourPop, and I've really loved using this. Before this project, I hadn't used it at all. This is what the palette is looking like. As you can see, I have already hit pan in this shade here, and I have a pretty good dip going on in this shade. I kind of wanted to give you a sneak peek on how I've been tracking my uses on these shadows, just to give you an idea if you're looking for an option. I have this little notebook that I keep in my makeup bin with all of my palettes that I'm panning. And this is very messy, so be warned. But I drew a diagram of the palette, and then I've just been keeping track by tallies. Here's a little sneak peek of my usage. But this has really been working for me to have right there when I'm using the palette. So let us quickly talk about the uses. The first shade I have used 17 times. The second shade I've used 10 times. Third shade, I only had to use it 5 times to hit pan. This shade I have used 14 times. This middle shade I've used 11 times. This shade I've used 3 times. This shade I've used 11 times. This middle shade I've used 2 times. And this dark shade I have used 10 times. I have really enjoyed using this palette. I definitely can't wait to hit pan on some other shades. I feel like Boa and Rocksteady are getting close. I use Boa to put all over my lid, no matter what eyeshadow look I'm doing. And then I was using this guy for my crease at first, and then after 5 uses, I just stopped. And I moved on to this shade. So this has been my crease color. Of course, deepening my crease with this, and then deepening my outer corner with this. So that's kind of how I've been using these shadows. And of course, depending on the day, I would put this or this all over my lid, pop this guy in my inner corner or the center of my lid. That's what I'm wearing today. This has been basically my go-to look. I'm really enjoying my Focus palette. I'm glad that I included this in this project, and I'm hoping to hit at least 2 more pans by the next update, so wish me luck. The next shadow that I was working on is this Makeup Geek single shadow in the shade Vintage. As you can see, there's not a ton of use on this. I use this 2 times. I am finding that I focus on my Focus palette. So I'm gonna try a little harder to incorporate my other shadows in this next month to get a little more use out of those, to like evenly distribute my attention. The next shade was from my Morphe 9T palette, and it was the black. Here is a close-up. As you can see, I have a pretty big dip in this. I use this exclusively for eyeliner, and I was able to use it 12 times. So I'm really happy with the progress. I feel like the pan could appear any day now because I'm using an angled brush to dip into this. It's very precise in one spot, so I feel like maybe only a couple more uses until I hit pan. The next shadow that I'm working on is from my Dominique Cosmetics Celestial Thunder eyeshadow palette. And I was working on the shade Black Matter. So this shade right here. And again, I only use this 2 times. This is like a purple shadow. Kind of comes across as a black on me. So I was having a hard time using both this color and the black from my Morphe 9T palette. So I think once I hit pan on this black, I'll be able to focus on this color a little more. The next 2 shadows in my project are both ColourPop Super Shock shadows. And this first one is Mooning. I was only able to use this 2 times this past month, and it was very disappointing. As you can probably tell, it's pretty dried up, and I was not getting a ton of color payoff. I tried putting this in my outer corner, and it just looked really muddy and not pigmented. It just looked awful, so I ended up just covering it up. So this next month, I'm going to try to revive it with Duraline, see if that works. If it doesn't help, I'm going to end up decluttering it, throwing it away because it's so old. I'm sure this is like 10 years old. So I won't feel too bad about throwing it away, but I do want last ditch effort Duraline. And then my last Super Shock is Kathleen Lights. And I managed to use this 5 times, which I'm pretty happy about. You can see there is a dip. And it's so interesting with the different formulas. This guy is great. It has great pigment. It's still, you know, soft and creamy. Obviously, you can tell it's a little older. It's not as good as it used to be. But I can definitely see a difference between these 2, and I got them at the same time. So I don't know what my point there is, but Kathleen Lights is still kicking. Unfortunately, I have no rollouts or roll-ins, so that is it for my update. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel if you enjoy makeup and panning content. So I see you in the next video.